By the end of the 18th century, the castle was falling into ruins. Only the chapel of St. Michael remained usable and was incorporated into the third incarnation we see today. After the castle was rebuilt, it was not regularly occupied, but rather used as a showplace. It is still privately owned by two lines of the Hohenzollern family. Today, the castle has over 300,000 visitors a year, making it one of the most popular in Germany. On a smaller scale, but no less impressive, is Liechtenstein Castle, above the town of Honau. This romantic, neo-Gothic castle was built in the 1840s for Duke Wilhelm of Urach, Count of Württemberg. The design was inspired by a popular historical novel, Liechtenstein, published in 1826. Just as at Hohenzollern, this is the third castle on the site, with the first two destroyed in fairly quick succession during the 14th century. After that, it fell into disrepair until it came into the hands of Duke Wilhelm. Some of the lower rooms are carved out of the rock which supports the building. The tall tower was added 50 years later at the end of the 19th century. And the fairy tale castle still belongs to the Dukes of Urach and is a very popular place to visit. 12 miles away is the town of Tübingen, one of the 5 classical university towns in Germany, the other 4 being Marburg, Göttingen, Freiburg and Heidelberg. The old castle is now part of the university, and the 25,000 students account for nearly a third of the town's population. Amongst the eminent students who no doubt walked through these ancient streets was the astronomer Johannes Kepler at the end of the 16th century. And in the 20th century, Joseph Ratzinger, now Pope Benedict XVI. To the west and on the edge of the Black Forest is the spa town of Baden-Baden. The German word Baden translates as to bath or to bathe. In earlier days, the town was simply known as Baden, and the double name only officially came into use in 1931 and was shortened from Baden in Baden, as the town is in the state of Baden-Württemberg. It was way back in Roman times that the healing power of the water was first recognized. It's thought that the Emperor Hadrian founded the town, and certainly Emperor Caracalla came here to ease his arthritic aches. After the collapse of the Roman Empire, the town declined and fell into partial ruin for several centuries. It was only at the end of the 18th century that Baden was rediscovered as a spa town. And in the early 19th century, the resort attracted the rich and famous, including the composers Berlioz and Brahms, and the writer Dostoevsky, who wrote The Gambler whilst gambling himself in the casino. European royalty came to stay in the luxury hotels, including Queen Victoria, Napoleon III, and the German Emperor Wilhelm I. High on a hill overlooking Bad Urach is the old castle of Hohenurach, which was used as a prison during the Middle Ages. Over the centuries, it was feared and hated by the local people, so that when the prison shut down in the 18th century, they climbed the hill and destroyed it. The old centre of Bad Urach is full of half-timbered houses. The same cannot be said of the city of Ulm, 30 miles to the east. A devastating air raid in 1944 destroyed much of the city, but the glorious church was left barely damaged. Even the houses around the square in front of the church, where the market is, were wrecked. The church is large enough to be a cathedral, but as Ulm is not a seat of a bishop, it is known as a minster. However, It is the tallest church in the world, at just under 170 meters. From the top, it's possible to look south on a clear day and see the Alps over 70 miles away. Building began in the mid-14th century and was held up several times, with work halted altogether in the 16th. It was only in 1813 that work began again, and the church was finally completed in 1890. "10 miles to the east is Roggenburg Abbey, which was founded back in the 10th century, though what we see today dates from the mid-18th century. In 1802, the monastery was closed down during a period of secularization, and the abbot stripped of his office. In 1986, in a move that comes full circle, the abbey buildings and church have been returned to a new set of monks who are re-establishing the abbey as a thriving community after a gap of nearly 200 years. Our journey now heads south through the Bavarian landscape towards the foothills of the Alps, the great mountain range that acts as the border with Austria and Switzerland.